a man of such great wealth. He had everything but a good test to make him better. And God is so interesting that God will let you have a test just when you were not wanting to have it at all. Anybody here ever found yourself in a place with an uninvited test? Yeah, vicissitudes of life that show up without your permission and have a dynamic that specifically speaks to where you are and where you have to go to have what you need to have for your future. Even with riches, understand this, you can't stop all the catastrophes from invading your life. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. I need you to say that to somebody, because somebody gets frustrated in this room right now. They may be on your roll because they're going through something, but tell your neighbor, sometime it's going to get worse before it gets better. Yeah. Or you can say it by testimony because you had to go through some things. So you can make part of your dialogue is that, listen here, it wasn't easy to get to where I am right now. Sometimes it got worse before it gets better. And understand here, his issue is not just people. His issue starts with the fact that he's doing such a good job in his humanity toward his creator that even Satan wanted a piece of him. Yeah, y'all need to read the Bible, because the Bible says that Satan made a visit up to heaven just to ask God, can I handle it? Can I get that one? You know, God said, what you doing? I'm just going to and fro throughout the earth, just kind of doing my old devilish deed, doing my stuff, you know. I'm not oversimplifying. But in the midst of him doing that, then God says, have you considered my servant Job? What do you do when God offers you? Some of y'all don't realize the reason why you're going through certain things is that God suggested it. Somebody talk to your neighbor and say, you may be under God's suggestion right now. While you fussing and fighting about why you're going through certain things, you need to understand that sometimes the reason why you go through some things is because God sees something in you that has his name on it. Starts with a V and ends with a Y. V-I-T. Or why victory. And because he sees it on you, you're going to have to go through something so you can wave the flag at the end of this particular situation. I need somebody in here to talk to your neighbor and say, better days are just ahead for me. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to wave my flag. I see some wonderful things that God's going to do for me. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of man what God has in store for me. Better days are just ahead. That's a rough situation. Sit down, y'all. I just want to talk a little bit about his life. It's quite interesting that he finds himself being offered by God. And when you look at this whole situation, it gets rough from that point on. Because what God does, he allows Satan as Job is giving offerings for his children every day, because they won't give offerings to God themselves. So they're not following the model that they got from daddy and mama and grandparents. Y'all, I'm just talking to somebody in the room here. And because of it, they made themselves vulnerable and susceptible to particular things, because they're not walking in alignment of the light of righteousness that's exhibited in the house and have been the reason why they enjoy their present pleasures. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for kids to get it, because sometimes they think that everything they have belongs to them, because they just part of the atmosphere, and I'm entitled to this because this is mine. I mean, sometimes I was looking at the episode the other day, and I was looking at some parents with Dr. Phil trying to tell two grown men at 24 years old that you got to leave your mom and daddy's house, and they trying to get them out. They locking them out. They climbing the fence. They coming back over and over again because and they don't want to pay any rent. They said, we're entitled to this. It's not that. It's not my fault I was born in this world. But it is your fault what you do after you're born with the rest of your life. So here it is now, and I think I'm speaking that for someone in here too who needs to get out of mama's house, just talking right here. And so because of it, and there's some things here that then became obvious here. And so his 10 children were feasting, and they were hanging at, listen, they were hanging at one of the brothers' houses. Well, hold on, I want you to get where they were. They were hanging at one of their brothers' houses. So the fact was, Job was so rich that even his kids had their own houses on their estate. So rather than doing anything, they hung out at the brother's house. So while they were at the brother's house, God permitted Satan to move both kinds of causes to establish his purpose. It was real rapid. And so all of a sudden, while there was several great situations that began to take place. The Sabians who were in the area came and they stole 1,000 of the oxen and 500 of the donkeys and slaughtered the servants. And then it's in the region of Sheba, southwest of Arabia. And when we look at this also, a fire then fell down from the sky. It shot down and it burned 7,000 of the sheep and killed several of the servants. And the Chaldeans, who then saw weakness, came in from 3 sides, and they stole 3,000 of the camels and slaughtered more of the servants. And then a mighty desert wind came up and struck 4 corners of the house, suggested as a tornado or a whirling wind, and it whipped across the desert of their property, and the wind toppled the house, and it fell on top of all 10 kids in the brother's house and killed them all. Job began to really plummet and felt like, listen, his grief had put him in a new posture, and he felt like everything was going wrong. And when you look at Job 1:20, he tears his clothes out of his agony and in his grief. And he shaves his head, and he's wondering what's really going on here. As he falls to the ground, he falls, but not in despair, but in obedience to God and worship God. And rather than get mad at God, said, why did you do this? He said, naked I came into the world, and naked I will depart from this world. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.